Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and this is Soft Flow Yoga. Thanks for joining me. In our practice today, we're going to be focusing on one of my favorite poses actually. It's half moon pose. It's a great hip opener, but it also involves balance. Let's start in seated. So I'm sitting on a nice soft blanket. Just feel free to do that yourself. You can even sit on a pillow. And for props today, you might want to grab 1, 2, or maybe even 3 blocks, or you can even just use a chair, table, or a wall. All right, sit up nice and tall. Just feel the lengthening of your spine. You can take a full breath in, filling up your lungs, and exhale. This time, when you inhale, feel everything rise. Your shoulders lifting up towards your earlobes, just to build a little tension, and then exhale, let it all go. Let's do that one more time. Lifting shoulders towards earlobes. Fill the lungs and exhale. Good, you might want to shake out the shoulders and just come to stillness for a few moments as you continue to make a connection with your breath. You can do this with your eyes open, and if they are open, just soften your eyelids and perhaps just look downward at the floor, or you can close your eyes completely and take this journey inside of self. Just slow, steady breaths for a few moments, experiencing the feeling of your breath, the sensations that come up as you breathe in and out, noticing your throat, your neck, your mouth, your tongue, your lips, your nose, your nostrils. And listen to the sound of your breath. Just simple ways to be more present, more connected. Good. Let's take 2 more breaths. Wonderful. Let's stay seated and let's uncross the legs and just extend the legs out and even just out to the side, something like this. Just kind of wide here. It doesn't have to be too wide. And don't worry if the knees need to bend here. And if they do bend, you might want to use maybe a block or maybe a rolled up towel or a blanket here. But don't worry about this too much. We're just getting an initial stretch and lengthening through the inner legs. So just want to sit up nice and tall. And what I like to do just to help that extension of spine is just use my hands and fingertips behind me and just push into the floor as a way to help lift. And with an exhale, just start to hinge forward slightly. I'm leading with my chest and my chin just a little bit forward. Now, these aren't big movements at all. I'll even turn sideways so you can see this. So the legs not too wide, slight bend in the knees, just fine. Keeping spine straight and just hinging forward just a little bit. Just awakening the inner legs a little bit. Good, just 2 more breaths here. And then go ahead and come back up to seated. Let's make our way to hands and knees. And feel free to use a towel or a blanket for a little extra padding. Starting in this neutral posture, shoulders right over your wrists, hips over knees, and then we'll inhale, tipping the chin up, feel the pelvis tip back, and we create the back bend in the center. Exhale, let's tuck the pelvis under, feel the belly button pull up towards spine, the natural curve of the spine, and then chin to chest, cat pose. Inhale, reverse it into cow, creating the back bend, the belly drops, heart opens, exhale, round it out. Good, just a few more times. A nice way to awaken the spine, find some mobility in the hips. Let's get into the side of the hips here as well. We'll turn forward for this just so you can see a different angle and see how my hips move. So what I like to do is actually take my hands a bit wider, bring the knees slightly together here so I can have some leverage, because I'm just going to lean over to my left, your right, and just kind of sit into that hip sensation. Then I move forward and back slightly for a bit of a massage. We're getting into the hips because our half moon pose, again, a balancing posture, does involve great hip opening. And I'm sitting over to the other side, deep breathing as I'm just slowly shifting forward and back. It's like a little massage. And if you like, you can even draw a big circle around one direction and then the other, just to warm up the hips a little bit. All right, let's make our way to downward facing dog. We'll move into a standing lunge position. Let's step the hands forward. Be sure to spread out your fingers so you can get a nice stretch between each finger. And then lean into your palms to flatten and stretch the palms open there. And as you press, feel the energy and strength and length in your arms. Let's keep the arms straight and strong. And then tuck your toes again. Let's do one more cat-cow. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Hold cat pose for that nice rounded sensation. Keep belly button pulling up towards spine for good support. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, send the hips into the air. Chest will sink between the arms. Even feel like you're sending your chest towards your toes. That will allow the hips to lift higher without you needing to lift higher up on your tiptoes. Just holding for a moment here. Still pressing firmly into the floor with the arms. You can even do a little pedaling of the feet, stretching the calves. This will feel good. Just doing one heel press at a time. I exhale to get into that press, and I do feel that in the calves. And a nice stretch for the toes. One more both sides. Let's move into our warrior series. We'll inhale, extend right leg up, reaching back. And exhale, extend right foot to the top of the mat, which is behind the right hand is good. We'll turn that back leg so the whole foot's on the floor here, shifting the weight back so you do have balance on both feet, as if you were standing on that back foot. That way your hands feel light. You can start to lift with ease, climb up the leg, coming up to the thigh to help extend spine. Then an inhale to take the arms out and up, reaching into the air. Holding for a moment in our warrior one. Let's actually relax the arms for just a moment so we can just feel this nice initial hip flexor stretch right through here. It's just below the belt line, top of the thigh, and even just a little bit above the belt line here. And of course, a nice strong thigh muscle. Let's inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, opening to your left. Bring your arms down to parallel for warrior two. You might need to adjust this back leg, at least I do. I like to turn that foot slightly out. It just helps open the hip a little bit more. Feels more free. I want to feel like I can send the pelvis forward, actually both sides here, forward with ease. No binding sensations. And certainly no binding sensations in the knees or ankles. And I'm taking the feet a little bit wider, lunging a little bit deeper, so I feel a bit more in the inner legs. That's going to come in handy as we get into our half moon pose. This is actually a good prep for half moon. Let's take side angle, making sure you stay balanced on both feet. It's just an upper body shift forward here at an angle, and you can rotate the arms just like this. Now you could reach the floor with this hand, but you don't have to. I typically like to just brace this arm against the inner right leg, and left hand reaching into the air, and continue sending kind of the pelvis portion of the body forward, increasing that stretch and release. And you can even take this arm overhead a little bit if you like, lengthening through the side of the body. A couple more breaths. And a slight lift just so you can easily come out of the pose. We'll turn, free the hands so you can fold and bring the hands to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes. Behind you, you're going to gently set the left knee onto the floor, flatten the foot. I'm just kind of sinking just for a few seconds here into this deep lunge. Again, kind of hip flexor, top of the leg and thigh. I'm just going to add one more thing here. And it's just a little roll. I'm just kind of like I'm just sending this left hip in this case down towards the floor. Just kind of getting to the side of the body here, low back, glute, hip, just a different sensation. Okay, not too long. Not really a yoga pose, but just a little extra release and opening for the hips. Alrighty. Tucking toes behind, lifting the knee, pressing hands flat into the mat so I can slide this right foot back. Here's our plank pose, holding for a moment for some good strength. We'll bend the knees slightly, send hips into the air. A return to our downward facing dog. I tiptoe forward just a little bit, just so my hips remain high. Chest moving towards the toes. I can even see my toes. Keeping the knees bent here will also keep the hips mobile so they can continue to rise. Let's do the other side. Inhale, extend the left leg up. And exhale, left foot to the top of the mat. Right heel turns, planted into the floor, shifting the weight back. Again, feeling like you're standing on that back foot. Taking your time to climb up the body, feeling the extension of the spine. And then sweep the arms out and up. Here's our warrior one. Holding for a second. Again, just bring the arms down for a moment. It's just a nice movement for the shoulders too. Feeling what's happening now on the right leg. Hip flexor, maybe the thigh a little bit. Just above the belt line, kind of getting into the psoas. And strong left thigh. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, turn to your right. Arms come down to parallel. Make those adjustments with your feet as you need to, so you free all the joints. Hips, knees, and ankles. And you can see I'm widening the stance a little bit. Just a bit more sensation in the inner legs. Ready for our side angle, just a shift of the upper body. Rotate the arms. This hand, left hand, can even just rest on the thigh. You can come a little lower by bringing the forearm down. I'm just going to keep my hand here for now. But a good sensation of reaching towards the ceiling. And again, the pelvis is pushing forward. In this case, for me, the back of the room. And reaching this right arm overhead for a side stretch. Just helps open kind of below the ribs, above the belt line. All right, I'm just going to lift up a little bit so I can turn, free the hands. Fold, bring the hands down to the floor, rise up onto tiptoes. Gently set the right knee onto the floor. Flatten the foot. Careful, slow lunge. Going a little deeper. Just be mindful of this, how it might feel in this left knee, since it's kind of going past the ankle. I'm just moving my hands over to the side so I can kind of roll a little bit to that right side. It's a wonderful stretch. Just deepening that lunge, but it takes some of that sensation out of the front of the leg and kind of gets into the side of the leg and the side body. All right, coming back up. Tuck the toes, lift the knee. Hands push firmly into the floor because we need to slide this left foot back. Here's our plank pose. Let's make a return to down dog. See, for me here, I feel like my feet are too far away from my hands, and my hands are actually slipping. And so I step the feet forward a little bit, keep the knees soft so I can send the hips high. And then I feel like I have more of a grip on the mat with my hands. Okay, let's take a walk up towards the top of the mat. Feet are flat on the mat. Slide fingertips towards toes. A nice release of the head. Shifting weight into the heels. Bend the knees, lower your hips. Bring hands up to thigh. Again, pushing into thigh to help extend spine. And then free the hands, reach out, reach up, reach into the air. Big stretch there, and exhale, arms return to your side. And maybe a little circle of the shoulders. And a deep breath. All righty. All right, that's going to be our simple warm-up, getting ready for our half moon pose. So let's get things set up. Now remember, you can certainly use props for this. I'm using blocks. I'm going to use several stacked blocks like this. You can even have a chair, like the seat of a chair, or even the high back end of a chair, or a wall to use for balance. And I'm going to give you some tricks on how you can actually sustain the posture and really open up in this pose. So whatever prop is in front of you, wall, table, chair, or blocks, right in front of you. So standing in mountain pose. So we're just going to bend the knees slightly, then inhale, sweep the arms out and up, and exhale, fold. But not going all the way down. I'm just going to reach whatever is in front of me here. Maybe it's the seat of your chair. I've got my stacked blocks. I have to be careful because they're a little wobbly. But I'm putting a little weight forward into the blocks. I'm going to be balancing on the right foot. But before I balance on that foot, I'm going to kind of swivel both feet and toes so they're pointing towards the left corner of my mat. Keeping the weight of my hand on the blocks, I'm just going to kind of tap this left foot back a little bit. So I'm on my tiptoes, just initiating the sense of balance on this front foot. And then once I feel secure here, again, using that block, the stacked blocks here for some balance, I'm just picking up that left leg, flexing the foot, and then turning open. And because I turn that foot in, which is actually the leg turning inward a little bit, it provides a little bit more space in this inner leg so I can open up a little bit more sideways. So that's the little trick. Because if I kept the toes pointing forward, my body has a longer way to go. It's a deeper stretch as far as getting into this position. Keep that lifted foot flexed. It'll keep the leg energized and strong as it lifts in the air. So this is half moon. And I'm using the stacked blocks for balance. I'm just going to slowly turn. Bring the foot back down to the floor. Actually, I'm going to bring it right down next to the other. Kind of spin so they're pointing forward now. Just release completely for a second into a full forward fold. And while I'm down here, I'm just going to go ahead and move my blocks. If you have a chair, of course, you don't have to move it. I'm going to come back up to standing, bending the knees, lowering the hips, and coming all the way back up, reaching high. And exhale, arms down to the side. I'm going to do the other side. Standing tall, first just finding balance on 2 feet. Take a breath. Here we go. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale, slow fold, bending the knees. So we're not going all the way down to the floor. We're just going to our stacked blocks or whatever you have here. Maybe it's a stack of books. Leaning forward a little bit so I can really feel that I'm relying on the blocks. Before I balance on 2 feet, I'm just going to spin both set of toes towards the right corner of the mat, knowing that I'm going to be balancing on my left foot. Then I just start tapping the right foot back until I just feel balanced here, secure enough where I can start floating that foot into the air. At the moment, my toes are pointed, but I'm going to flex the foot because it fires up the leg muscles. Then I start turning my hips, my torso, towards this side of the room. Now, don't worry if you don't open up completely sideways, because maybe you're more at an angle towards the floor, so you're still doing the balance. It's a pretty challenging balance altogether, and so you don't need to open up all the way. But if you're able to, which certainly takes a little bit more courage in the body, but really energize the hand that's in the air, that foot that's in the air, pelvis is kind of pushing forward, and again, turning that left foot in this case, helps to open up that inner left leg. So you open up a little bit more sideways. Okay, we're going to carefully come back down. Bring the foot down next to the other. Spin the toes for pointing forward, folding completely, moving my blocks out of the way. Just going to do a halfway lift. Here, just sliding hands to shins, make my way down to the floor, hands out in front, and take several steps all the way back to plank pose for a moment to lengthen the whole body and strengthen. And then gently setting knees onto the floor and sitting back into hero pose. And that's going to complete our sequence. So you can go ahead and take a seat. Sit up nice and tall. Take a few deep breaths. And one last movement together. Inhale, extend both arms into the air. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Take one more breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste. Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.